All right, recording has started, and this is the June 27th, 2023 Rook community meeting. So let's go ahead and jump into our milestone checkups to see how all the progress is going especially as we're getting closer to the end of our 1.12 life or milestone timeline. So nothing to talk about, I think, on 1.10. No planned patches there. 1.11.8, we for 1.11 we did a .8 patch release that was a couple days after the last community meeting that we had together. So why is this not clicking? There we go. Let's see if there's
Yep.
anything worth mentioning in here.
Oh, hopefully they're readable or understandable. Let's see. Can't remember that release already almost 2 weeks ago. That's right. Erasure coding blockable config is in the Helm chart now. That was a nice feature from Javier. Not measure pools in the stretch cluster examples. Anyway, yeah, just a few different things. Nothing burning, I feel like.
All right, then nothing else to speak about there. We can mention that we do have an upcoming 1.11.9 patch as well. So let's take a look at the project board and just see what the big thing might be blocking the release. Still, nope, nothing looks like it's blocking the release. And anything major to call out that's going out to be included in that in a couple days?
Yeah, again, I think nothing burning. There is
Okay.
a kind of a logging issue with the exporter that I got a PR about ready for merge. It's not even in this board here, is it? So
I
I'll add it,
don't
but
see it on the board.
right. So it's not a big issue really to talk through anyway. But the one that says it's in progress there with Dependabot PRs, that one doesn't block the release. It's just kind of an annoyance during development. Whenever the Dependabot opens a PR, the it doesn't update all the files it needs to, and so then it opens the PR, and then the CI fails, and we have to push a custom change to it. So we need to get that automated. Is what the goal is with this
Is
issue.
is that something that other users of Dependabot have been running into also? Is that a common problem, or is it something that is like just not fully configured yet for us?
Well, the issue is a couple months ago, a community member made a change where the a subset of our Go modules are kind of a separate Go dot, what's it called? The Go dot mod file is in a subdirectory under package APIs. And so that whoever's consuming the Rook API will have a smaller set of dependencies than the entire Rook Go modules file.
I see, I see, I see,
And
I
that
see.
one is not, Dependabot just isn't aware of it. It doesn't know how to update it. So we've made a couple of attempts to get the Dependabot PRs to modify that. There's a way to customize them, but it's just not working yet.
Got it. Okay,
We'll
but
see
not
when we can get that.
blocking a patch release here.
No. Yeah, so Thursday, I think let's get the biweekly release out. And I feel like things are starting to slow down. So probably after this Thursday, we'll reduce the frequency on the 1.11 patches to 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, that sounds good. Then the big thing in terms of milestones to chat about today then is the progress we have on 1.12. So we had talked in the past couple community meetings about the timing for like Ceph Reef release coming out and having those builds ready. For Travis going on in a PTO, I think a little bit after the weekend, the 4th of July. So let's catch up on that as well with the dates that we've got planned here.
Yeah, so we've got I guess down in the community topics, kind of listed out the features that we're waiting on. And if we look at the project board, these are the kind of the 3 blocking issues there too. So the main ones are we need Reef support. So in the CI, we need to be running against Reef. Javier is working through that, and we're troubleshooting some issues with getting that going. Shabam has the node loss PR, and then Jiffin with the Kazi driver. Well, since all of those are really still in progress, it just didn't seem realistic to try and release next week, especially with a long 4th of July weekend for me and some others. So my proposal now is to get create the branch and have the beta release by end of next week, July 6th, tentatively. That'd be a Thursday. And then I'm going to be on PTO more the next week after that. So then around July 17th, 18th, we could get the final release. That's a timeline that I feel like will work out with as far as getting these 3 core features in, and then time to write blog and just prepare for that release between PTO. On the 19th, they go on PTO again for another week. Fun month.
Fun summer for you, Travis. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that definitely sounds reasonable. I think this is a good organization to have too, of the 3 major things we're tracking here that we really want to include in the release. We've got those in the blocking release column. We've got some dates that are coming together for coordinating and getting releases out, going through getting the beta release candidate out and then getting the final release out on the 18th as well. So that all sounds very reasonable from the way you've been describing it.
Yeah, and then Blaine and I talked about him get kind of up to speed on doing a patch release in case, like after the 1.12 release, if I'm out for a week, then he could do a release if needed, or somebody else, if anybody else wants to get involved with that process. We could practice on the patch release this week.
That's a very good idea.
Yep. So that's the 1.12 in a nutshell from my side. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
Are there any of these to-do issues here, Travis, that already make sense to move out of the 1.12 release and board?
Probably. I mean, there's a couple of those that have just been getting kicked release to release, and there's some that I still want to make sure get done, but whether they happen in 1.12, yeah, those to-do items just don't tend to get enough priority sometimes. But we'll see, I guess. Yeah, those to-do items are, if they're not assigned, especially, they're always open for people to pick them up. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and then when you're talking about the Ceph Reef, was everything still, with that release still going ahead that, it's targeting a particular date and it's trending towards that and everything looks okay?
I haven't heard a particular date that they're targeting now for GA. I don't know, Blaine, have you heard anything else on that? But right.
No, I haven't heard anything else.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they got it out before mid-July, just because they got the RC out was it a week or 2 weeks ago already? But
Okay,
seems
cool.
like they need a few weeks or a month at least after that. So we should, 18th should be at least within the timeline of when Reef comes out.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right, then anything else that folks want to bring up then for upcoming milestones 1.12? I'm going to update this here as well, Travis, July 18th to match this.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe we'll delete the comment about later, depending on Reef. I think we'll just shoot for the 18th.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fine. All right, so we talked about the 1.12 features in progress in the context of the 1.12 release. Was there more discussion needed on the particular or these specific PRs here then?
From my perspective, I feel like we're progressing towards next week for all of those. They're just, it's not for sure yet, but then at least you would have another week after that if it really needs more time. But I think we're okay, unless anybody else wants to discuss. Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's keep on cruising through the agenda then. So let's talk about the Go dependencies, and we kind of touched on that as well. But more to say here.
Yeah, I just wanted to call out a couple changes. We are building with Go 1.20 now. We're basically removed support for 1.19 in the latest master. And then probably in August, Go 1.21 will come out, then we'll add that at that point. But this was some of the Go module updates and things. Just wanted to make sure we're on the latest and greatest, and reduce our support matrix for trying to get things working with older versions of Go. As with the controller runtime, 0.15, there were some breaking changes that is merged now. And yeah, we're all good to go there. I know Shubham is looking at, Shubham, are you still blocked on the your testing with the node loss, or did you get past that now because of the controller runtime update?
So I had to create a couple of PR on the CSI add-ons repository because they were using older version of controller runtime. So I had to update their CSI add-ons controller runtime to 4.15, and after that, yeah, I'm using custom commit as. So yeah, I'm not blocked.
Okay, at least you're not blocked. That's good to know.
And by the way, with the latest controller runtime, we have one logging issue. Kindly, it is not affecting the Rook operator lifecycle, but I think yeah, we can try to fix it.
Right there. Okay, I just opened it. So we see this call stack printed. Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, new fresh issue. I guess we'll take a look.
That's interesting, and then we still see logs will not be displayed, but then we still see more logs later on. That's a little odd.
And I noticed that I noticed that this error log is coming when we are returning some error from the controller reconcile and not any other places. That was my observation.
Okay. Yeah, with the new controller runtime, it looks like a bunch of changes, so we'll stabilize and hopefully clean up the logs.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I've got for Go dependencies. But
yep. Okay, that sounds good. It's also good that not just that the controller runtime is continued to stay up to date as well. That's very good to stay on top of that. All right. So we got the KubeCon CTL plugin has been released as well with the full shift over to being implemented in Go.
Yep, that's all done. Kudos to Shubham for driving that.
Yeah, it's
nice
amazing.
To have that out.
That's awesome.
Yes. So now,
yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Any comments, Shubham? Or?
Yeah, finally it is done.
Yeah, it's been a few months, 6 months since we started that or something, but good to have
yeah, 2-3 months at least. Yes.
Yeah, a couple of small issues were reported, and so we got those fixed. And the .1 release just went out half hour ago. So that's all good to go. All known issues. So with such a major rewrite, that's a pretty small list of issues. So that's good. Good to go.
Yeah, definitely.
But if other people, more testing, it'd still be great if people try out the latest release. Because with the rewrite, you always wonder what we're missing, right, as far as testing. But we had some pretty good bug bashing. I felt confident in it. Just more testing is always better.
And I'll go ahead and link to the release notes here for it as well. So we have that in the doc.
Guess we could move that up to the top of the doc later, or as far as with other releases in the future.
Yeah, if we get, especially if we get like on like milestone, project planning, particular milestones and issues that we want included in particular releases and dates and all that sort of stuff, then that does make sense. If it's still a little ad hoc, then
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking if we could prioritize some of the current issue and mark that in the to do or in progress state, so that I at least I could focus on particular issues. Currently, it is like bunch of list of issues.
Yeah, let's talk about how to organize that into a project and releases and things. I don't think we need as much structure as we use for the main Rook project, just because it's smaller, but organization is always good.
Yep, that sounds right to me. All right, sweet. So yeah, thanks for that, Shubham. That's definitely amazing point to get to. Now the next agenda item here is that the main trainer track is now open for submissions. So that I think it's some like July 16th or something. I think is the due date. I think. So that will definitely be a good idea to do. There's also one that's open for KubeCon China again. Those have been revived to do China in addition to the EU and the North America ones. So that's maybe something to consider if there's a desire to do that.
Yeah, for North America, yeah, Blaine and I would plan on that. I haven't heard of. I posted in the maintainers channel first to see what interest. I don't remember seeing a reply for who else might be interested. So I'll ping that group again, and then we could if we don't have 4, then we can expand to others who may be interested. So because last time we had Blaine and I and Deepika and Alexander, anyway, we'll see how that works out. So like Alexander or anybody else interested in coming to Chicago?
I think we need to check about Chicago. Might be possible.
Yeah, hopefully you can make
We
it.
have a couple weeks to figure out, but it's always good to see people. Yep.
I'm not sure what.
Yeah. Okay. And for China, I haven't heard of any interest for being in person for that from anybody.
Alrighty. Cool. Yeah, and if there's not, this like it is totally reasonable to submit with just Travis and Blaine as well, right? We don't have to have all 4 spots filled. It's nice to get speakers and more opportunities and stuff like that. But if they're, if people can't make it or whatever reason, then going and submitting with just Travis and Blaine is a-okay with me.
Right. And by the way, I didn't see any kind of guidelines or restrictions around who needs to be as part of that if you have a panel of 4, like we did for the last conference. So anyway,
in terms of like diversity requirements and stuff,
right?
Or like organizational diversity and stuff like that. Yeah, I assume that that's still the case. I would be really surprised if they remove that requirement.
Oh, I looked. I didn't see it in there as far as because last time it was all 4 can't be male, and I was at the main one anyway. So we'll see. I
different organizations as well. They have to. I think they can't all be work for the same company or something, or the majority. They can't have a majority all at one company or something like that. I think.
Yeah, I definitely remember those restrictions, those guidelines last time. But I don't remember any of that this time.
Well, because I submitted some CFPs or some proposals to already for the main call for proposals, and they're using a new tool this time. It's like Sessionize, I think, is the tool. So it's a new system, new tool. So I would not be surprised then if some of the requirements like still exist, but maybe they're not being displayed or enforced within the tool this time because this is the first submission life cycle with this new tool. So if there's some gaps, I wouldn't be surprised, but I would be shocked if the policy actually changed.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. So I would count on the policy still being there. Is what I would recommend.
Safe assumption.
Yep. All right. Cool. And then also, yeah, there's a submissions we could do for a keynote updates video, right? 60 seconds. Though the struggle I had when I read that one is that it's pretty far away from the deadline's really far away from the keynote itself. It's like it's due in mid-August, like September, October. It's like
It's not
3
till
months
November.
away from when it'll be broadcast. You like have like a video of like talking about the project from the distant past. I was really surprised by that.
Right. That was surprising how early the deadline is exactly. But
Yeah.
for KubeCon Amsterdam, it was I almost went ahead with the video, but I just ran out of time. But seeing the videos, it's like, okay, we can do that. It's a keynote, part of the keynote. We should totally do it.
I had to regret not doing it as well. So yeah, that's totally worth doing, even if it is going to be stale. Like it's still good, publicity and getting the project in front of attendees and people watching it. So yeah, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So if anybody else wants to be involved in making that, let me know. And that's all I've got for the agenda from my perspective. I added myself an action item to catch up with Matt to get a blog image early, so we don't come at the last second.
Nice.
For that. And
yes, that's a good idea.
yes.
Go ahead and get that started now, while there's still a couple
Exactly.
weeks left. Yeah. And then I mentioned it before we started the meeting, but I did actually make some progress here on getting the Slack and Extended app set up, so that we will have a stable invitation link and a nice experience for people to self-service join the Slack community and all that stuff. So I have like a test environment that's up and working. And so I need to figure out like how we like the process for how we would do a cutover of the DNS and all, and swaparoo the old app there. So I will run that by everybody, like on the maintainer channel or whatever, with kind of what the process will be, and then get some eyes on it to make sure I'm not talking crazy there.
Cool.
So and then also probably a little bit
Thanks.
more testing as well, like have somebody else try it out, make sure that it works for them as well. So I'll follow up and make that happen. I'm done here for tonight in EU before I head out with sort of family dinner stuff, but maybe tomorrow I'll be following up on it, but it should be pretty soon.
Sounds good.
Cool. Okay, then any other agenda topics before we maybe adjourn a little early here? Okay, well, I guess that's it then. Good to see everybody, and lots of exciting stuff as we're working towards the 1.12 release, and all these opportunities we have at the KubeCons and stuff coming up. So good to see everybody.
All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
folks.
See ya.
Bye.